Welcome to this demonstration of the MediaHaven Pro Asset Management Platform. Here you can see the welcome page with a selection of images in the system. The platform consists of a web interface, which we will demonstrate first, and a content management system, which we will look at later. From the home page, you can click through to an overview of the collections of media objects in the system. These collections of images are created by the users and display the metadata or description of the collections and the images themselves, which can be browsed and viewed in a user-friendly way. Searchability is naturally very important for large volumes of images, hence the very powerful built-in search engine, which, as demonstrated here, also automatically predicts terms as you type. It's also important to be able to start a search without explicitly entering a term yourself, and in this way get an overview of all the media stored in the system. Search results can be displayed in various ways, for example, in tile view or list view. The standard view for all media contains a timeline that allows you to scroll through the images chronologically, to zoom, and even create a filter for a specific time period by selecting the end and start points. The selected time period is always displayed so that it's clear which filters apply to the search. Other options for filtering and customizing searches are displayed in the left column. Here you can use faceted search to refine the search results, to include only specific images, or to broaden the search again by removing previously selected facets. This method allows you to perform highly advanced searches without having to type complex queries. By clicking on an image, you get an overview of the metadata associated with it, such as the description, author, relevant dates, and, of course, the image itself, which you can zoom in on to view something in more detail. Below the image, you can see suggestions for other objects in the system that are similar to the image from the previous search. In this example, the connection is that they are all types of buildings. The platform can, of course, manage far more media objects than just still photos, and is also video supported. If we take video, for example, it's also possible to display and watch the key frames of a video. This allows you to very quickly gain an overview of the video's content and to browse to the right segment. The video stream is also seekable and lets you scroll quickly through the video. Other file types, such as Photoshop files, PDFs, and so on, can also be stored in the system. Specifically for files with several pages, the various pages can be displayed and viewed separately so that the full file content is clearly visible without having to download the file itself. The application naturally offers the possibility of downloading files in their original format, and it also supports, for example, a shopping cart feature where you can place multiple files from various searches and pages. For instance, this allows you to download the files or to integrate them with a purchasing system. So, different actions can be linked to the cart. All sorts of metadata is associated with the media, and you can, for example, display the images on a map if they contain this location information. This way, you can search for images based on their location and map, and view them in more detail. And then you can click through to the image you want. So far, we've only talked about MediaHaven and searched and displayed existing media. Of course, it's also essential to enter media in the platform, and we will look at this aspect in the second part of the video. With one click on the web interface, you can start the content management system. Here you will be prompted for a username and password. The application has a media file view centrally located in the user interface and a metadata view on the right. Navigation components are displayed in the left column. Media can be entered through automated workflows or by the user himself. We will demonstrate this. The user can select files very easily, drag them into the application, and then they are uploaded onto the system. The progress of the import is always displayed. At that point, the initial processing and metadata extraction starts in the background. The uploaded images are displayed in the application, and when you select an image, you can view the automatically populated metadata in the right column. A user can, of course, enter images several times. If a user uploads the same image more than once, the system will report this so that the exact same image is not repeatedly stored in the platform. This facilitates management and helps the user when importing existing collections of images. The images already contained in the system are explicitly displayed. The metadata of the selected images is displayed in the right column and, as far as possible, automatically populated if it is already contained in the original file. For example, the author, the owner of the copyrights, and so on. An exhaustive list of all metadata extracted from the image, including all EXIF, IPTC, XMP, and other metadata, can be displayed. Not all of these fields and metadata are relevant to every user. To cater to different types of users, it's possible to define different profiles, which display more or less metadata for a selected photo. For instance, location is one of the metadata fields. In this case, a GPS coordinate was embedded in the photo, enabling an address to be generated at this specific location. If changes are made to this address, the user doesn't need to worry about finding the right format. The software itself will change the address to a standardized, uniform format. Other metadata that can be entered include categories based on a thesaurus, once again with an autocomplete feature to minimize typing for the user and to eliminate the need for an in-depth knowledge of the thesaurus. Several options are also suggested by autocomplete when the user freely enters keywords. But it goes a step further, since the software itself automatically suggests related keywords. This helps the user to add extra terms without having to type them in himself and prevents spelling mistakes and typos too. You can, of course, save the changes you have made. Of course, you don't need to enter metadata for images one by one. Multiple images can also be done simultaneously. If we select several images at a time, all image information can be processed in the right column in one single action. When we add, for instance, extra keywords, these are also added to the existing list instead of overwriting it. To further assist the user, you can also be taken through a wizard for metadating the images. Just select the images you want and launch the wizard. You will get a preview of the selected images and can follow the various steps for metadating the media. If the images already have different values for certain fields, this will also be represented visually, and these values may still be overwritten by one value for all images. Metadata that is populated through the wizard then applies to all selected images. The metadata wizard consists of several small steps to be followed by the user, who can modify or add metadata at each stage. One important step involves assigning permissions to the images. These can be set for each image and for each user group. For instance, whether other users can view the images, edit the metadata, or download the original image. This can be set for different groups and for each image separately. Additionally, each user account can be configured to be allowed or disallowed to set certain rights, for example, to publish media publicly or not. The last step requires you to confirm the information from the wizard before it closes. At that point, the images are, of course, also available on the website and can be retrieved based on the metadata previously entered. It is possible to search the platform not only through the website, but also through the content management system, which offers identical search and filter options as the website. So, you can search for images that have just been uploaded, for instance, based on the date the photos were taken. You can do this using the date facet, which first filters by year, then by month, and finally, the day. At this point, you can view the metadata of the images again and/or modify it. Another possible option is to group images in a collection so that you can display them all together on the website. This is done by selecting multiple images and adding them to the clipboard. You can perform multiple searches to build collections very simply. From the menu, you can group these images in a collection, assign a title to this collection, and then add all the descriptions you want and any other relevant information to the collection object itself. This way, these can also be searched in the system. For example, you can enter a description for this collection, add some keywords, and then save the changes. Now, let's speed things up a bit. You can also freely modify the sequence of images in the collection by dragging and dropping them in the desired order. When you're satisfied with the sequence of images, you can save these changes again and also view the modified collection on the website. By navigating from the web interface to the overview page of the collections, you can easily retrieve and view the newly created collection and browse the photos in it. And that brings us back to the start of the presentation. You can find more information and contact details at www.zeticon.com.